Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a late night Manchester United transfer news roundup. We've not really discussed the transfer news today. My live stream earlier was focusing on the Spurs game and the Glazers. My video this morning was focusing on dressing room news, and I was going to do a transfer roundup video. I try and do a transfer roundup video every single evening, and I thought, you know what, let's do a live stream because there's a lot to get through. There's a lot to get through in today's show. And Fabrizio Romano has obviously come up with a story about 25-30 minutes ago that Man United are now exploring a move for, I'm going to try and pronounce the name, Odysseas Vlachodimos, something, player at Benfica. United now exploring the market, la-di-la-di-la. And I'm going to talk about the story, talk about this player, who we used. We've got news that Dean Henderson set to join Crystal Palace, Martial for Saudi Arabia. Reports coming out that United are putting another bid for Amrabat, but again, it's those tier 3 sources saying we're going in for Amrabat. Verratti has been linked with United today. Pavard's going to stay at Bayern and move to United on a free and sign a pre-contract in January. It's a report going around as well. Man United apparently exploring the market at other strikers if Martial leaves. Manchester United looking at more experienced strikers like Taremi. So there are quite a few stories to discuss in today's live stream, quite a few interesting stories that I want to get into. I'll start with some updates that Fabrizio Romano has gone. Fabrizio Romano did say that Manchester United are not done in the transfer market. There could be 1 to 2 more signings depending on sales. Amrabat to United is still very much ongoing. The player has agreed to join United. Personal terms agreed. He is just waiting for United. Some sources say that United are set to act on Amrabat following their Spurs defeat. But, I mean, look, when do Man United act like a proper club? Don't know. So we will get into all of that. But please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below. Share the video if you're new. And look, I apologise if the lighting is annoying. When I film downstairs, the lighting is really, really annoying. I'm obviously asking you guys to vote in the poll. Who would your ideal front three be? Verratti had about 20 separate injuries since 2020. No way. I wouldn't get Verratti. There's no doubt in my mind that Verratti's a talented player, and on his day, he's better than what we have. But I don't like those on his day players. You know, Pogba on his day, Martial on his day. It doesn't matter if they're an on its day player and how good they are on their day. If they're bloody injured and they don't show up all the time they play, I don't want them. That's the same with Paul Pogba. That was the same with Anthony Martial. Reece James could become the next on his day player with his injury record, and that's no disrespect to the players, but you can be a really talented player like Neymar. But if you were injured for like 60% of the season, you were injured for 60% of the season, and it's considerably frustrating. And I think the one thing that Liverpool have done well in their recruitment over the last few years is Liverpool have gone out of their way to make sure that the players they recruit are players with good injury records. And that's what Liverpool have done well. And United would recruit the same injury-prone players as well. 10 days left in the window, and we're signing a shit keeper. So, Manchester United, obviously Fabrizio Romano said, are exploring a move for Odysseas Vlachodimos, blah, 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 who's expected to leave Benfica. Vlachodimos is top of Man United's list as a new goalkeeper in case Dean Henderson joins Crystal Palace or Forest. Again, his name is an absolute mouthful, and there's a reason I didn't put it into Talks on that to spell it, and I couldn't be bothered to check. But it said, obviously, this is following the fact that United are now exploring the market for a new keeper, with Dean Henderson's move to Crystal Palace looking incredibly likely. And United have 3 goalkeepers on their shortlist, and this is the guy that's number 1 priority, and potential offer is expected. Now, why this is telling and why this is something that I want to talk about is purely for the fact of, so we, now Dean Henderson's going, we're making a move for a new keeper. That's interesting. Fred's gone, and we haven't made a move for a new midfielder. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so United can make a move for a new player. They are looking at making a move for a new player. And the thing about this that I don't like is the fact that we've got Amrabat. Well, we don't have Amrabat, but we've got Amrabat on personal terms agreed. We know we need Amrabat. Amrabat has to be the next signing for United. I know we'll have to sign a keeper if Dean Henderson leaves, but Amrabat's got to be the next signing for United. And the thing that annoys me is the fact that we're focusing on getting Dean Henderson out and another keeper in. And it's like we're completely neglecting the fact that we've got Amrabat on the side here. Amrabat needs to be someone that United look at signing. Amrabat will be a good signing for United. In fact, it will be a great signing because we're going to get into Casemiro. And actually, I'm not one of those people that's going to scapegoat Casemiro. Some fools to scapegoat Casemiro on social media. Like, he wasn't great, but it's not his fault. He's completely isolated. And there's no doubt in my mind that Casemiro is a world-class player. But we're going to highlight the fact, and we're going to get into some statistics, that Casemiro needs clear help at United. And the fact that United aren't going for Amrabat, despite being able to play next to Casemiro, play Casemiro's position, is madness, because I generally think Kobbie Mainoo is going to be our most important midfielder this season if we don't sign Amrabat. And, you know, I think that this isn't a great keeper. It's not the move. United linked to Benfica star. It's not a great player. It's not a great move. It's a second goalkeeper. Of course, it's not going to be an exciting move, but Suzuki was an exciting move when we were linked to him. He was like a good understudy to Onana, but United don't do the smart moves. United are going to sign someone absolutely crap because it's a second keeper and United would neglect it. But it's the fact that United are acting on this move. It's the fact that United are making steps to sign a second goalkeeper, but they've not made steps these last 3 weeks to sign Amrabat. Some reports are saying, oh, Amrabat to United is hours away. Yeah, the Sun, we don't believe you. The Start, we don't believe you. Romano's not said anything. And it's like, why are we like, okay, cool, we need to get a goalkeeper in, but, you know, why aren't we like right now in talks with Amrabat or Fiorentina for Amrabat? What is going on there? You know, for me, that is what's particularly concerning as well. We're 5 million short for an Amrabat deal. Any sale we make should help with that. He should be the priority. Exactly. The only troubling thing with Dean Henderson is Simon Stone is reporting that Dean Henderson's move will be a loan with an option to buy. So if Dean Henderson was sold to Crystal Palace for, let's say, £17 million and we sign this mouthful guy for £7 million, the money left over would pretty much give us the funds for the Amrabat deal. However, Man United probably still wouldn't sign Amrabat and say, oh, the funds from selling a goalkeeper doesn't go directly towards the Amrabat deal, la da da. They'd make up some FFP excuse. But the fact of the matter is, if we do sell Dean Henderson for an actual price tag and then sign this guy who's probably going to be half the price of Dean Henderson, realistically, the funds are going to be there for Amrabat. The question is, will United pursue Amrabat? Don't know. They'd probably make an excuse. Now, Romano has confirmed that Amrabat's agreed to join United. United told Amrabat to wait, that they are going to go for him, and they expect Donny van de Beek and Brandon Williams to be sold. Ten Hag even said post-match, after the Spurs match, that he completely dropped Brandon Williams and Donny van de Beek from the squad on purpose because those players don't have their heads at the club and they're expected to be sold in the transfer window. So if those players are gone ahead and sold, or at least even loaned and off the wage bill, there is the funds there for Amrabat, and that United is still not going to act on Amrabat until Donny van de Beek is sold, despite reports. But we have the funds for Amrabat. We just don't want to act on it because our owners are basically, they don't care. Our owners are like, oh, we're not going to buy this player unless we actually make the 99% of his transfer up. We're not, you know, we've got the funds to buy him, but we're not going to act on him unless Donny goes. So they have a reason to act on him. Our club don't just sign players for the sake of signing players. They need a reason to sign players. They're not like Man City who go, Fernandinho's got probably 2 years left on him. Let's go sign this brilliant young Rodri. Man United probably see that Casemiro's got 2 years left on him. They ain't looking at signing a DM next summer. They need a DM. Casemiro's not been great lately. He's not one to scapegoat, but yeah, unfortunately, United just don't think smart at all. Maguire's such a great player. He instantly improves every team he plays against. Verratti will be the worst deal. Yeah, guys, let me know in the chat what your thoughts on Verratti are. I just think with his injury record, the fact that there's reports coming out saying he'd prefer move to Saudi Arabia because of the money. If that's his mentality, if that's his attitude, then personally, I don't want Verratti at Man United if he's not really interested in playing for us and he just sees a little bit of a nice paycheck there. Like, Verratti is probably not my ideal move. Niall McCarthy says Maguire is such a great player. He instantly improves every team around him as well. According to the 10 p.m. update to Corey and Gravenberch, it's going to be for Paul, so nobody wants United, says El Scouser. Man United are not in for Doucouré, and Gravenberch actually chose Manchester United over Liverpool, but Manchester United has told Gravenberch that if they're going to sign a midfielder, it's going to be Amrabat, it's going to be a DM unless Scott McTominay is sold. Basically, it's been confirmed that Gravenberch would rather go to Man United than Liverpool because of his relationship with Ten Hag, and that essentially, if McTominay is sold, then a move for Gravenberch is possible, but United's number one midfield priority is Amrabat. That is the case. That has been confirmed. Doucouré can go to Liverpool. We were never in for him. We're in for Amrabat. If Amrabat goes to Liverpool, then I absolutely cry. But if Amrabat goes to Liverpool, it's not because he's chosen Liverpool over United. It's because United have been too slow and too incompetent to put in a bid for Amrabat. Need a centre-back, need a striker, need depth in both of those positions. I agree. And an ideal scenario would have sold Harry Maguire in May. We would have brought Kim and Jay. And then we would have obviously moved on as well and got another midfielder in. Now, I want to get a statistic up for you guys. We've got some news on Martial leaving. We've got some news on Dean Henderson leaving. We've got some news on Verratti. We've got some news on Manchester United's new striker target. But I want to quickly get into this. And this is just highlights why we need Amrabat. So this is seconds per high intensity runs. So this is per 90 or per the amount of minutes they've played, divided it by how many high intensity runs they did. Now you can see the lower the number, the better. The lower the number means he goes, 47 seconds before he does a high sprint run, 53 seconds for a high sprint run. Have you noticed the top 2 players are Spurs players, and they are the Spurs fullbacks, then followed by the 2 Man United fullbacks, because fullbacks are going to run more than the centre-backs, and then it's the Spurs centre-backs, and then it's the Man United centre-backs. Have you noticed that in defence, Spurs are doing more sprints per second? If we go down to midfield here, as you can see, Sarr is doing one every 56 seconds, Casemiro is doing one every 114 seconds. Now, I'm not one of those people that's going to scapegoat Casemiro, and that Casemiro will be at the bottom of those 3 just because his role is the most defensive to hold. But Sarr is running basically twice the amount of Casemiro, and we're wondering why our midfield can't catch up. Casemiro is essentially playing 2 roles. Casemiro has essentially been asked to be 2 players by Ten Hag, with Mount and Bruno playing so far away, which is not fair on Casemiro. But also Casemiro is not matching the intensity of other players around us. I don't know if Casemiro is not match fit. I think Casemiro's always been like Rooney. He's always needed a few games to get up to scratch. But Casemiro really isn't looking match fit here, which is slightly concerning. But look, Sarr and then Mount is second, and I think Mount was quite good in that particular first half, despite criticism. Basuma, Maddison, Casemiro, Fernandes way behind. And even if you look at the attack here, Son and Kulusevski are well ahead of Garnacho, well ahead of Antony, well ahead of Rashford. And as you can see overall, if you look at the top of the list, high intensity sprints per second, the top 5, 6 are Spurs players, and the bottom ones are Manchester United, Varane, Casemiro, Martinez. And if you look at the team average per sprint, Tottenham's every 69 seconds, we're every 89 seconds. And obviously, in my video or my live stream earlier, I showed you like their statistics for distance travelled and stuff. And you can just see, when we said that Spurs had more intensity, the statistics very much back up. Spurs came into that game with far more intensity than United. Keeper says, I think Kakare is a good option for Lyon instead of Verratti. I want a midfielder, both are good. I want Verratti, but he's injury prone. I think Max and Kakare would be a really good option. Let me know in the chat, who would your ideal option be? Now, I think Amrabat would be my ideal option because I want someone that can play next to Casemiro and cover the Casemiro role. If we're living in dreamland, I'd be going all out for Frankie de Jong, but something tells me United probably aren't going to get Frankie de Jong as well. I can see United forking out money. I can see United forking out money out of nowhere on deadline day and making panic signings after stalling the past few months and letting us stay the season with shortages. You know what? I tell you what, we've got Nottingham Forest next, and then I think it's Arsenal. I think we've only got one more game between now and the end of the transfer window, because the end of the transfer window is 10 days, people. We've got Nottingham Forest on the 26th of August, and then we don't play again to Arsenal on the 3rd of September. Now, when we play Arsenal on the 3rd of September, there is reports that Rasmus Højlund is expected to be fit that game, and Rasmus Højlund is expected to be involved in the game on the 3rd of September. But the thing is, if we go into this Nottingham Forest game here on the 26th of August and we get completely outplayed, there is a potential that we could see United doing a last-minute panic. But the thing about United that really frustrates me is, and I am going to get into some more transfer news in a second, is that United won't even entertain the idea of signing a player unless they have to. Like Man United, we was told this whole time, okay, Man United are going to basically sell Fred. Man United's plan was to sell Fred and buy Amrabat. Now Man United are saying, no, we've got to sell Donny first before signing Amrabat. They're always making an excuse. It's like, no, Amrabat is the Fred replacement. You're just using Donny because because the Glazers just want to have a bit more money to hold on to. It should be sell Fred Amrabat, And the thing is, the only way I see us making a move to buy someone without selling, then we are going to make an offer for this goalkeeper, but I don't even count it as a transfer, in all honesty. But the only way Man United are really going to do something this transfer window, in all honesty, is if we get battered by Forest and then they act. That is the problem. We've lost to Spurs. Maybe it's given United, maybe we should act. The thing is, I guarantee you this now, like we did last season. United last season played FFP. United's favourite word this season is FFP. When we lost 4-0 to Brentford, all of a sudden our FFP problems disappeared. Well, that's funny, isn't it? All of our FFP problems disappeared when we lost 4-0 to Brentford. So you're telling me if Nottingham Forest came and beat us 3-0 at Old Trafford, would we still have these FFP issues? Absolutely not. That would be an Amrabat going in tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It's incredibly frustrating being a Manchester United player, and hopefully some things could happen late in the transfer window, but I just really don't trust United. But the thing is as well, Nottingham Forest we should win. Arsenal's a difficult game. Look, Arsenal and Brighton are games you don't think you're going to win confidently. Burnley and Forest we should win. Arsenal and Brighton we might lose. Palace are a tough team to beat at the moment. Brentford, we know what they've given us. Sheffield United we should beat. Man City will lose. Fulham we should beat. Luton we should beat. Everton we should beat. Newcastle I think will beat us at the moment. Chelsea we should beat. Bournemouth we should beat. Liverpool beat us at Anfield. If it's at home, I think we beat Liverpool. West Ham will be a tough game. Villa will be a tough game. There's a lot of tough games coming up in the Premier League, and United, I don't know if they have the squad for it. They've got injury problems and all of that, and it's not their fault. But I do sometimes sit and go, have United got the squad for this as well? But yeah, it's just scrolling down the live chat, guys. Do get some comments in the live chat. Keep smashing the like, subscribe down below if you're new as well. Liverpool fans always on Man United fan pages, and they make stuff about players preferring them over us. It's hilarious. The thing is, every player that we've been linked with that's gone to Liverpool, we've never made a bid for. This is the thing. Liverpool made a bid for Caicedo, and he still went to Chelsea. He actively chose Chelsea over Liverpool. Every single player that Man United have been linked with that's gone to Liverpool, it's not like United have opened up the Greek pass. It's not like United have actually made a bid for the player. Had Frankie de Jong gone to Liverpool last summer, then Liverpool fans could be like, oh, he rejected United for Liverpool as well. Taremi rumour to United. The Taremi rumour to United kind of popped up like last month. So like 2 months ago, there was a big rumour that United were interested in Taremi, and like 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, United were linked to Taremi. I have to say the Taremi to Manchester United rumour and all that news has gone quiet this last month. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with Taremi to United. I think he's just a player that if Martial sold, United might go for, because they want an experienced striker that can stay fit, that can score goals. Like United's whole thing is, okay, if Martial goes, then we've probably got a small budget to try and sign a striker. And I'm basically told Taremi is one of those few strikers that fits in that budget, because you've got to think there's very few strikers that are going to cost us £20 million that we can get in on a short-term basis that are going to do a better job than Martial. Some of them will stay fit, but there's very few of them that are actually good enough to play for United. And I think United are looking at short-term fixes. And the frustrating thing about United is, in all our rebuilds, we still seem to be looking at short-term fixes. We should be doing long-term deals. Now Højlund is a long-term deal, but we're still looking for a short-term fix to that problem if Martial goes. It's still worrying things. Now, guys, I do want to get into the transfer news. There are a few stories going about, a few interesting stories, and I do want to kind of get into those stories, talk about those stories. There's some news on Amrabat, news on Dean Henderson, news on Martial to Saudi Arabia, keeping you up to date with these stories. So do smash that like button while I go and get the next story on my screen. And I do apologise that the lighting in this video is probably not the best lighting you've got on an Alice Talks football video, but the lights will just flicker if I have the full lighting on, so this is the way it is. But there are reports coming out today that Man United remain in the race and will almost certainly make their attempt before the end of the summer to sign Amrabat. Reports are coming out basically saying that United have reassured Amrabat, just keep waiting for us, we will make a bid for you, it's just going to come right at the end of the summer. So there are reports coming out that United are going to officially open talks with Fiorentina for Amrabat next week, and potentially maybe do a panic deal for Amrabat. And the sad thing is, I don't want us to lose to Nottingham Forest, but if we beat Nottingham Forest 5-0 and we don't sell Donny, we won't sign Amrabat. If we lose to Nottingham Forest, we'll probably go out and sign Amrabat, because that is how United work as well. Guys, keep smashing the like, subscribe down below if you're new. Casemiro and Varane to be sold to Saudi Arabia in the summer. I highly doubt that. Varane actually got an offer from Saudi Arabia and Varane turned it down. He said he wants to stay at United as well. That Onana pass to Garnacho yesterday gave me the chills, but a bad finish. Andre Onana was a fantastic keeper. Andre Onana, for me, was probably the highlight of yesterday. He was the best player on the pitch, so smash that like button for Andre Onana. So glad we signed him as well. Absolutely so glad we signed him. Do you think that United will go for João Felix? Now, reportedly, João Felix is very close to joining Barcelona. It just depends on Barcelona's financial situation, and João Felix's dream move would be Barcelona. So it seems reports are coming out that, it's going to be João Felix. Camavinga, I wish United signed Camavinga. Camavinga to Real Madrid, I think it was £30 million. Obviously, we were in from at the time, but he did choose Real Madrid. Camavinga, £30 million transfer, one of the least talked about and one of the most underrated transfers out there. You know what? If I had my way, if I was the owner of Man United and I had that Todd Boehly kind of money, I'd be going to the Camavingas. I'd be going to the Frankie de Jongs. I'd be going to Man City on my knees for Rodri. Do you know what I mean? If I was Todd Boehly, Camavinga, Frankie de Jong, Amrabat can come along as well because Ten Hag wants you. Harry Kane, get in here. I tell you that now. But Camavinga is a beautiful player. Do you know what wound me up though? I was watching Barcelona. Frankie de Jong was so good. Frankie We got Mason Mount because we didn't get Frankie de Jong. No disrespect to Mason Mount, but if we'd have signed Frankie de Jong, we wouldn't be having Mason Mount in the side. And look, I know Mason Mount's a Man United player, but if you said to me, Alice, you can swap Mason Mount in for Frankie de Jong, but it will upset Mason Mount, I'd say screw Mason Mount's feelings. I'm a horrible bitch. And there we go. Frankie de Jong will be a Man United player. He was so good versus Barcelona today. Can't lie to you. So good as well. Amrabat, Gravenberch and João Felix on loan. They would get de Jong if Qatar was in charge. Look, if Qatari was here, we'd be having Harry Kane, we'd be having Kim and Jay, we'd be having a feast. But we've got those greedy Glazers. And hopefully we do get some updates on the takeover. Hopefully we do get some takeover news coming in, but who knows. Amrabat and Thuram from Nice. I have to say, Thuram looks like a good player, but in an ideal world, McTominay is sold, Maguire is sold, Dean Henderson is sold, Donny is sold. We get this crappy second goalkeeper in, we get Amrabat in, we either get Thuram, Onana, or Gravenberch in, whoever Ten Hag prefers to replace McTominay, and then we go and do something for like João Felix on loan, or we go and maybe get someone like Gift Orban, or maybe we get Taremi. In an ideal world, we sell those players and we literally go and sign the second goalkeeper. We get Pavard in for Maguire. We get Gravenberch in. We get Amrabat in, and we get like a goal, and we get like a striker in. That'd be fine. But that would be Man United completing 5 more signings in 10 days, and that honestly, like, there's more chance of Madeleine McCann coming back than Man United signing 5 players in 10 days. You know, we're not Chelsea, so I don't see that one happening as well. If Southgate picks Maguire, I swear, the thing is, if Maguire's not playing and Colwill is playing, it might not be long before Maguire loses his place. Because you know what winds me up about Gareth Southgate is Gareth Southgate clearly has his favourites. Everyone knows that Gareth Southgate has his favourites. Like, that's like saying, you know, the sky is blue. Gareth Southgate has his favourites. But players like, you know, certain players, when they're not playing for their club, Gareth Southgate drops them and goes, well, this player's not been in good form, they've not been playing for their club enough, so that's why I've not picked, I don't know, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Didn't pick Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent Alexander-Arnold was playing for actually Liverpool, but Gareth Southgate didn't pick Trent Alexander-Arnold, and his reasoning for not picking Trent Alexander-Arnold was, look, you know, he's not been good enough for his club. Maguire was not good enough for his club last season. Maguire spent 90% of the season on the bench. Maguire, there we go, start. And look, to be honest, I get why Maguire is picked because he for England is good. Him and John Stones for England is good. But you have to act a way that if Maguire's just going to sit on the bench this season, you're Southgate, okay, pick Maguire for England, but he will be the Connor Cody replacement. He won't be the player that starts next to John Stones. He can do that Connor Cody role, you know, because, you know, Maguire's good for England, but it's mad. I think the fact that, and I know Maguire had an injury and all of that, but I honestly don't think Maguire had an injury. I think Ten Hag said that to protect Maguire. I think Ten Hag didn't pick Maguire on purpose because the only other 2 players that weren't picked were Donny and Williams, and they're looking for a move. You know, I wouldn't be. Maybe I'm spreading negativity here. Maybe I'm spreading lies. But I generally believe that. I think Maguire was dropped. I do think Maguire was dropped. And I've got many reasons to believe that as well. Let's be honest, Ollie wanted all the right players. Glazers held him back. Did he, though? Did he? I mean, look, we almost signed Grealish under Ollie. We almost signed Bellingham under Ollie. We almost signed Haaland under Ollie. We almost signed Caicedo under Ollie. You never know. Like, Ollie wanted Moises Caicedo. Ollie wanted Haaland. Ollie wanted Grealish. Ollie wanted Bellingham. I do look at it now and I'm like, if we'd had Grealish in this club, Bellingham, Haaland and Moises Caicedo right now would be a lot better off, yes. Rangnick wanted Julian Alvarez and Enzo Fernandez would be a lot better off with those players, yeah. You know, the thing about United is people always say, oh, you know, we're so bad at scouting players, It's not scouting players, we scout the players. Our scouts are good. Call me crazy, our scouts are good. Do you know what's not good? The people that make decisions on whether we buy or sell those players the scouts buy. If you're a scout at Man United, you're worthless. That sounds like a horrible thing to say, but the Man United scouts have no worth. It's like, you know how we learn Pythagoras' theorem in maths at school, and then we're never going to lose Pythagoras' theorem in our life again, or maybe some of you will, and it's all algebra. And you're like, well, I'm learning about algebra, but when am I going to use this again? This is worthless. And that is like being a scout for United. You do all this work, you learn all this work, you go to South America, you scout these great players, and the scouts come back to United and they're like, this Moises Caicedo guy is 4.5 million. This Erling Haaland guy, he's a talent, he's 4 million. Oh, this Enzo Fernandez is 12 million. This Julian Alvarez is 15 million. You know, they scout all these players, these great young talents, And then the board go, no, screw Moises Caicedo. We've got McTominay. That's what the board do. So the scouts, because they scouted Garnacho, they scouted Alvaro Fernandez, they brought Garnacho, Mark Gerardo, and Alvaro Fernandez to Man United a couple of summers ago. The scouts do well for the youth as well. Hannibal Mejbri was brought in a couple of years ago. I think we pinched people like the Fletcherchins, Charlie McNeil. The scouts at United aren't the problem. People go, oh, the scouts are so bad. That we scout the right kind of players, but it's the people that make the decision. That's the problem. The people that get the decision makers in this club are the problem, because they just constantly make bad decision after bad decision after bad decision as well. The only game that scares me coming up is Arsenal. I'm just going to scroll down the live chat as I am like at 10:20 and it's 10:29 on my live chat as well. So very behind. Can we hit 300 likes by default before the end of the live stream, guys? Please do smash that like button if you haven't already as well. And someone just defended someone. People actually offended by that joke. Ugh, grow up. But just scrolling down the live chat as well. 145 likes. Keep smashing the like button. Big up Alice, Amrabat and Gravenberch. Yeah, Amrabat and Gravenberch. And Chelsea lost before their new money squad. Do you know what? We have to talk about Chelsea. They spent $1 billion and they just don't look any better. But it is one game. I think the thing that we do, and us online fans, is we'll watch one game and then we'll just react to that and go, oh, that was bad. That was bad. Sell Martial, McTominay, Henderson, Amrabat's necessary to sign. I agree. Ollie wanted so many players. Erik ten Hag's talent ID stinks. I would say Erik ten Hag's talent ID stinks, but Erik ten Hag has a clear bias to players that he's familiar with, and that's the problem. Erik ten Hag's not that he has a bad talent ID; it's that he likes to go for familiar names because he doesn't trust the board's talent ID. That is the thing. Erik ten Hag, Ajax had Van der Sar and Overmars to kind of do that for him. Van der Sar and Overmars were the people that brought players to Ajax, not Ten Hag. Ten Hag doesn't trust Murta and Arnold's ball knowledge because Murta and Arnold are the Bristol Bankers Club. So Ten Hag looks at that situation and he goes, well, I want to bring in players I know. I can't trust these people. United recruitment has been considerably poor. If Ten Hag had his way, we wouldn't have Mason Mount and we'd have had Frankie de Jong last year. Do you know what I mean? Like, we would have. So, people don't like the fact that we spent all this money on Anthony and the fact that we spent all this money on Mason Mount. But that is who Ten Hag wanted. But look, Martinez was a good signing. He wanted Jurriën Timber. That would have been a good signing. Anana's a good signing. Frankie de Jong would have been a fantastic signing. Casemiro's a good signing. I think Højlund will be a good signing. I don't think Ten Hag's talent ID is bad, but I just think that it's not his strength. We should be having someone at the club doing that. What Newcastle did as soon as they got taken over is they went to Brighton and they pinched Dan Ashworth. We had a chance to get Paul Mitchell in. The board went no. We have a chance to get Michael Edwards, who was brilliant at Liverpool. I see Liverpool fans crying on Twitter, begging for Michael Edwards back after that disaster class with Lavia and Caicedo. We had a chance to bring Michael Edwards in, who was fantastic at Liverpool. Not only you signed someone that's fantastic at Liverpool on a limited budget, because Klopp kept up with Pep, and Klopp didn't spend the kind of money Pep did. You're also signing someone from Liverpool, which is just going to wind up their fans. And United had a chance to get Michael Edwards from Liverpool, and they didn't act on that. The problem is with United is the people. Ten Hag obviously go for players that's familiar with him, but we need a structure, we need a plan, we need an identity, we need people that are capable of making smart decisions at this club, and that's something that we massively lack. I feel like the people that make decisions at this club are stupid, honestly. Ollie did leave Erik ten Hag a mess, and is going to take time to fix things. He's improved the team and still more to come. Yeah, and while Ollie might have wanted players like Bellingham, Grealish, Moises Caicedo, Haaland, which would have been great, Ollie also neglected the fact that we needed a DM for 3 seasons, and Ten Hag was left with the most incompetent midfield ever. Look, Fred. I think we miss Fred, and I don't mean to disrespect Fred. We massively miss Fred today, but Ollie, he just completely neglected the fact that United need Fred. If Højlund is not fully match fit, if Højlund not fully match fit, 3 scary speed skillful players in Mason, Pellistri and Garnacho. If Højlund is match fit, Ahmad, Forson. You're on a mad one, mate. You're on a mad one. Look, we've got Amad Diallo, we've got obviously Garnacho, we've got Pellistri, we've got good players. Rashford's good, Sancho's good, Anthony's iffy. Maybe he'll be the player that Ten Hag wants. But yeah, what do you all mean Ten Hag's talent ID stinks and Ollie was better than him who brought Maguire? Exactly. Thank you. You know what? Ollie found some good players, but Ollie, Maguire, Dan James, Wan-Bissaka as well. The club's a joke. It's aged you a lot. The lighting makes me look horrific. Maybe it has aged me a lot, to be honest. Who knows? I heard Liverpool putting a 20 million bid for Gravenberch, but nothing else has been said yet. Bayern will reject that 20 million bid. They want at least 25 million, and they'd ideally loan him, and they didn't actually want to sell him. So yeah, I thought Chelsea and Paul are in their come up, and it turns out it was just a battle of mid. Scousers beat Bournemouth, and now I think everything is good. Chelsea though couldn't just got beat. Do you know what? I had a Liverpool fan trying to come at me today, like, oh, Man United lost, and I'm like, yeah, you beat Bournemouth because the bloody refs didn't give, gave you the most dodgy penalty ever. You weren't even good against Bournemouth. You weren't even good against Chelsea. You know, Liverpool might have won the game, but I think Liverpool collapsed this season. Liverpool's midfield, like people talk about our midfield have not been balanced. I tell you what, look at Liverpool's midfield. Honestly, look at Liverpool's midfield. Then there's absolutely no balance in that midfield whatsoever. So, you know, I have Liverpool fans trying to wind me up today, but you know what? I don't think Liverpool have a good season. I think City, Newcastle, Arsenal will be the top three, and I think United will be in a race for fourth. Sadly, I think Newcastle, City, and Arsenal are going to be top three. United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, potentially Villa are in that race for fourth. I think it's going to be really competitive. You could even argue Brighton are up there with the way they've started the season. The mad thing about Brighton, they lose Casado, they lose McAllister, and I'm like, oh, Brighton will still be good, but I don't think they'll be as good. Brighton have started the season arguably just as good, haven't they? But anyway, it was said earlier today by Reluctant Nickel that Crystal Palace are in the running for Dean Henderson after learning he's available on a loan option to buy. It was also said that the talks have begun over Dean Henderson to Crystal Palace, and it is believed that Dean Henderson's move to Crystal Palace would be on a loan application with options to buy, said BBC Sport, and that the move is close. United believe that Dean Henderson's move to Crystal Palace will go through and are confident Dean Henderson will leave the club. And now Manchester United are in the market for another goalkeeper, and Manchester United are expected to make a goalkeeper signing if Dean Henderson is sold in the coming weeks, opening talks and preparing an offer for a replacement once sold. So Dean Henderson's move looks to be going on as well. Almac said Eric Ten Hag should not be trusted with transfers. Mason Mount is trash and Højlund was overpriced. I warned everyone about Mount. Okay, we'll try and be positive here. Eric Ten Hag needs help with transfers because we need better recruitment on the board. Mason Mount is not trash, but he wasn't the right profile player for Manchester United. And yes, Højlund was overpriced, but Højlund has the potential for us to say, oh, maybe that was a steal. If Højlund decides in 3 years' time to score 50 goals a season, we'll be saying it's a steal. Højlund's one for the future. But what Manchester United have done is they need someone to play alongside Casemiro in that Casemiro role. They needed an established striker, and they didn't do that. The fact that we've gone into the first game of the season without striker is particularly disappointing from Manchester United's side of the story. Guys, please do keep smashing that like button, and of course subscribe down below from you. I'm just going to take a drink of water and continue through these live chats. This is more of a late night transfer show. I don't normally do these late night kind of transfer shows. I normally just go live like 6 till 7, but I'm kind of enjoying this late night transfer show as well. I'm just scrolling through the live chat as well. Keep smashing the likes. Big win for West Ham. Big smash the likes for Daniel because we've got a big win for West Ham. West Ham have made my day. Honestly, I was so miserable today. I was fuming about that loss, and I was like, oh, I bet Arsenal are going to play well, City are going to play well. Even Newcastle, who lost, gave City a game. Newcastle were good. I was like, nah. I'm in a bad mood. And then Chelsea decided to be worse than Manchester United, which I'll be honest, made me feel so much better. The phone is going buzz. Be a big season for United. Eric Ten Hag will challenge them to win more trophies, do better than cups. Hopefully United do win some trophies this season as well. Too many egos in the boardroom trying to be relevant, says Stephanie as well. And there's too much going on behind the scenes. Greenwood and Anthony allegations, the takeover, players not leaving. That Ten Hag doesn't want and not buying the first team players that he does want. And you know what? Chat of the day from Everything Carpi. This is the thing. I did a video this morning saying there's something seriously up with Man United. Because there is something seriously up with Man United. You know, there's so many players that, you know, there's issues with Anthony and Greenwood. That's going to cause conversation. The takeover, will they, won't they, won't they? This whole Man United takeover is dropping problems. And then obviously, you know, the fact that there's players there that, you know, everyone knows that Ten Hag agreed to sell Maguire. Everyone in that Manchester United squad is thinking, why is Maguire still here? Everyone in that Man United squad is thinking, why haven't we signed Amrabat? Everyone in that Man United squad is saying, well, what's going on with the sale? Everyone in this Man United squad has seen these reports about Anthony, seen these reports about Greenwood, all of that as well. So yeah, please do smash the like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Someone said that MUFC MPB dropped a story about an exclusive on Man United signing. One set MP. Let me see if a story's been dropped on United just now. Late night story. No, it just said that we're expected to hear an update on Mason as early as tomorrow. Yeah, there's reports coming out that Manchester United are going to release a statement at 1 o'clock tomorrow on Mason. The Sun said that we're going to release that on Tuesday. David Ornstein saying it might come out tomorrow. From what I've heard, that it's not going to come out Monday. It's going to come out Tuesday. Their statement on Mason and their decision, which reportedly they've made a U-turn on the decision, but some sources saying have they actually made a U-turn. So, you know, we're going to find out in the next 48 hours if Mason is coming back or not. Have they made a U-turn? They obviously originally planned to bring back Mason. Richard Arnold had agreed to bring back Mason. He'd actually recorded a video to explain why he was bringing back Mason and got a TV interview planned for Mason to explain himself, which, to be honest, will be very interesting to watch. But apparently they made a big U-turn on that. Bada bing, bada boom. Will they be able to get rid of him? Will they be able to loan him? Honestly, who knows? Who knows? But apparently we're going to find out what's going on with Mason in the next 24 to 48 hours as well. People say Erik ten Hag will be playing with two number 8s, but Bruno and Mount are number 10 and not number 8s. Yeah, we're playing with two number 10s. This is the thing about Erik ten Hag. This is the thing I criticise him of. He signed Eriksen and he signed Mason Mount to do that role next to Casemiro. But Eriksen and Mason Mount are both known as 10s. If you wanted an 8, there's Gravenberch. Now, Gravenberch hasn't been good at Bayern, but Gravenberch is an 8. Mason Mount and Eriksen are 10s. Bruno is a 10. And it's like we've got 3 10s. We've got a 6. And then you've got McTominay, who plays as a 6, but probably is an 8. But actually, he barely plays as an 8. So we've got 3 10s. We've got 2 6s, an injured Kobbie Mainoo, and actually technically no out-and-out 8s at the club. Now Fred's left. Fred was the only 8 at the club. If Mainoo's back, we've got an 8. But this is why I was saying I cannot wait for Kobbie Mainoo to come back. People don't understand that Kobbie Mainoo could actually become crucial if we don't sign a midfielder, because he will be the only player that's natural position would be that role next to Casemiro. Because Mount and Eriksen adapt to that role, but that isn't even their best position. McTominay probably is his best position, but we've utilised him as a 6. Kobbie Mainoo will be the guy that thrives in that role. I tell you this now. When he is back, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, and I cannot believe I'm one of those silly fans that watches a youth player play 3 games in pre-season and I'm convinced that he's going to make the difference this season. Maybe I'm deluded, but when Kobbie Mainoo comes back, I just feel it. I see it. I see something happening with it. You know, the way ten Hag spoke about him, the way ten Hag said that he's going to be important and he's going to play a lot when he's back, the way that ten Hag played him in those big games against Arsenal, Real Madrid on pre-season, Kobbie Mainoo's going to have a big season, 100% as well. Guys, 179 likes. I want to get 300 likes. We've got 500 people watching. Please smash the like button. The rest are jokes. You know what? Bruno might have not played well yesterday. Bruno Fernandes, in fact, really didn't play yesterday. But one thing I will sit here and I will applaud Bruno Fernandes on is he might have not played well, but he had every right to come out after that match and say, oh, I hope the referee comes in our dressing room and apologises to us like they did at Wolves. You know, he basically called out the media. You know, there was this big fuss after what happened at Wolves, everyone was kicking off after what happens at Wolves. But I hope we get the same treatment. I hope everyone makes a big fuss and kicks off and we get apologies from the referees. Because at the end of the day, yes, the refs made a mistake. Wolves should have had a penalty. But what winds me up is how many times have we seen in the last season refs make blatant mistakes? I'd say there's been about 20 times. There's been about 50 mistakes in the last year, but there's been about 20 mistakes that are blatant mistakes. Do you remember when we played Middlesbrough and the guy literally basketballed it to score? It's like, and VAR was like, no. How many times has there been these mistakes with VAR? And Wolves should have got a penalty, I admit that. But no, when have VAR been like, yeah, sorry, we're going to give these guys a week off. We're going to apologise to Wolves. We're going to go online and do this big apology. We've got the decision wrong, blah, 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 publicly. Never. As soon as Man United get away with one, and that, you know, we don't get away with one often. Sometimes we get away with one, and then sometimes we really get away with one. And that's the first time VAR has let us really get away with one. Maybe that goal that was kind of offside that we scored against Man City twice. But when we actually really get away with one, and bear in mind, Liverpool often really get away with one, City often really get away with one, the media come out and go, yeah, it's a mistake, I can't believe you've done this. They start making this big deal and this big fuss out of it. Oh, you know, we got it wrong, we got it wrong, we got it wrong, we got it wrong. Yes, you did get it wrong, but you get it wrong all the time. Why, when you get it wrong and it's about Man United, you suspend the referees for a week, you make a big statement because you got it wrong against Spurs. You're not doing that. Bruno was absolutely right. Bruno was absolutely right. The referees, they wind me up. Alice, do you think Ten Hag's formation is good on Casemiro or not? Absolutely not. Casemiro needs more help as well. Brighton are dark horses this season. I agree. Well, Amrabat is ours, then I ain't worried. However, I'm worried about Paul getting Gravenberch. Amrabat is ours if we make a bid. Amrabat is ours if we make a bid. But we are loan FC. We'll be loan FC. We'll only do loans. Why do we only do loans? There are reports coming out that United are only going to sign a player if it's on loan, if they don't sell Donny. Loan FC as well. Vlachodimos is our target for a backup keeper. I don't know how to say his name. And Erik ten Hag got rid of Ralf, though. We have all the say that's on him. It wasn't Erik ten Hag. I'll tell you this. I know this from inside sources. I know this from people I've spoken to. I know this from people that got connections in the club. Erik ten Hag didn't have a say on Ralf Rangnick. The board, they put out a brief that Erik ten Hag wasn't interested in working with Ralf Rangnick and they got rid of him. Erik ten Hag didn't get a say. All those, I know this from inside sources, I know this from people at the club. Erik ten Hag didn't get a say on what we did on Rangnick. The Glazers, the board, they didn't like that Ten Hag was speaking out against them. And not Ten Hag, that Ralf Rangnick was speaking out against them. Ralf Rangnick wasn't speaking out against them in an attack, in a personal way. Ralf Rangnick was just stating the facts. The people at this club sometimes haven't focused on the footballing element as much as they should have. If they want this club to be successful, they need to do X, Y, Z. Was he absolutely spot on? Yes. Open heart surgery. You know the stuff. Rangnick just sat there and he spoke absolute facts. Absolute facts. Yes, he upset a few players and maybe publicly calling out players wasn't the smartest approach. However, those players needed to be named and shamed with the way they were acting at Manchester United last season. I stick with that. But Rangnick, yeah, he basically sat there and he stated facts. He didn't go in on the board. He was critical of the board. He was critical of the owners, but he was right to be critical. Everything he said was a fact. The board didn't like that. The owners didn't like that. And they were like, yeah, Rangnick's going. And then they just basically put the story out when they got rid of Rangnick because they knew a few people would be frustrated because the reason we were so excited that we signed Rangnick was for the consultancy role. The reason I was so happy that we'd signed Ralf Rangnick is I was like, oh, he's coming in to do this consultancy role. Brilliant, perfect. Got sacked. We were fuming because we're like, we didn't even want him as the interim manager. It was like 6 months of him as interim, but he's going to come and do a consultancy role for 2 years and that's going to be brilliant. Boom, 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 boom. That's why we got him. It was awful. So they put out this brief, yeah, Erik ten Hag wasn't interested in working with Rangnick. Erik ten Hag didn't get a say. Erik ten Hag wasn't overly fast, but Erik ten Hag didn't get a say in the matter at all. Because I'll tell you this now, if Erik ten Hag was looking at, Erik ten Hag's been at United a year and he's seen that we've got dumb and dumber making decisions at the club, we've got absolute fools and we've got owners that will pretend that FFP is a problem when it's not. I think Erik ten Hag would be saying, well, this recruitment team's awful. I'd like Rangnick. I'd like Van der Sar. I'd like Overmars. I'd like to recreate my Ajax structure here. You know, John Merton, Richard Arnold are trying. No doubt in my mind, John Merton, Richard Arnold are trying. But you know what? The fat kid on sports day tries, and he doesn't win his races. You're not as good as the others. Erik ten Hag needs proper people to work with. But you know, he unfortunately he won't get that. I'm just going to scroll down the live chat. If you put any chat in the last 5 minutes, just put it in again as well. The more successful United will be, the more the Glazers will want to stay. Says everything Carpy. I agree, and that is definitely the worrying thing as well. If Maguire went to West Ham, he would be above United. He would be above United right now. Exactly, Maguire. You should have gone. They're in the Europa League as well. Maguire was acting like West Ham isn't a big enough club for him. West Ham were in the Europa League. West Ham have just won a European trophy. West Ham have been in Europe the last 3 seasons. You're not going to play for a top or a big 7 side. You're not going to play for Newcastle won't want you. City won't want you. Liverpool won't want you. Arsenal won't want you. Chelsea, I thought he would be better for Chelsea than Disassi, which seems to be an unpopular opinion. That might become popular after Disassi's disaster club. But none of the traditional big 7 clubs wanted him. So who's the best club that's not in the big 7? Over the last 3-4 years? You could say Brighton, but if you're looking at actually what they've won, it'd be West Ham. They've won. West Ham are right now, and I know they had a bad season last year, and I know that Brighton are actively better than them, but Villa are better than right now. But over the last 3-year period, West Ham have been in Europa League, Conference League, Europa League. They've won a trophy. They are arguably the biggest team out of the traditional big seven, with Villa and Brighton also looking really good, but Brighton not having the funds for Maguire, and potentially Villa. Potentially Villa and West Ham are the two clubs. If you can't play a traditional big seven club, Villa and West Ham are your two best options. Without a doubt. Maguire was thinking he was too big for West Ham. West Ham are massive. That's what they say. You're not too big for West Ham. West Ham is a big club. West Ham is a club that's been in Europe 3 seasons in a row. West Ham is a club that could win the Europa League. They won the Conference League. West Ham is a club that should finish in the top half of the table. West Ham's it's a big club, and it's your level. Because Maguire is a good centre-back. West Ham is a good club. But Maguire isn't going to win you Premier League titles. But Maguire can do very well in a good Premier League team. West Ham would have been brilliant for Maguire, because although, we are critical of Maguire at United and we don't want Maguire at United, and some people will make out that Maguire's the worst player ever to grace football and he's a championship level player. But the fact of the matter is Maguire's awful for United. He's not good, but, we know what he's capable of, what he's done for England. He has had good games for United. There's no doubt in my mind that Maguire would be a good player at a mid-table Premier League club. And he would have been a brilliant player for West Ham. I think he would have been great under David Moyes in that defensive system, in that low block. I think he would have worked really well. I think David Moyes was going to make him the main man, was thinking of making captain. And, he wants to stay at United. Why? Because, he's going to earn 70 grand a week more at United. What else? They can paint the cracks and they can cover it up all they want. But that we all know that's the reason that he's staying at Manchester United, for sure. We've got super chat coming in here. Thank you very much for the super chat. Love you. Thanks for live. Lissandro must join Casemiro as a DM when Mount and Bruno attacking. Shaw moves to centre-back position, 3-2-5. What do you think? Potentially. I think we're trying to play Luke Shaw more inverted in midfield, but I think we do need to do something which would bring another defender into the midfield when attacking, if we are going to play Casemiro, Bruno, Mason Mount as well. Kobbie Mainoo is a key player. Absolutely agree. We're on 200 likes, guys. Can we hit 300 likes? We've got 99 likes to go. We've got 500 people watching. Come on, people, smash the likes as well. Bruno's not big in those big games. Yeah, well, Man United are big in those big games away from home. And you know what's I think's funny though is I think if we'd have beaten Spurs, it would have been a new page to turn about this away from home record. I think this away from home record actually impacts Man United more than we think, because I think in the first half versus Tottenham Hotspur, we created 3 big chances, they created 0. In the first half versus Tottenham Hotspur, we had an XG of 1.8, they had an XG of 0.4. In the first half versus Tottenham Hotspur, we had done enough to go 2-0 up. We should have had a penalty, and Bruno should have scored, Anthony should have scored. Obviously, second half we hit the post and all of that. But Man United could have been, arguably, it could have been 2-1 actually. Spurs had a few chances, but Man United could have gone in half time 2-0 up versus Spurs. And I think had we gone in 2-0 up versus Spurs, it would have been a second half. But as soon as we concede a goal away from home from one of the clubs in the top 9, the mentality shifts. The mentality shifts. It's like we've conceded a goal and we're like, you know what, we're giving up now. That is the worrying thing. I think whenever we concede a goal, I almost feel like we give up. We absolutely give up. And it's like a mentality thing. Oh, we've conceded a goal away from home now, we're not going to win. It's like they don't believe they're going to turn it around. VR didn't cost us that game, so I'm not really bothered. True. At the end of the day, if Man United played really well versus Spurs, and if Spurs had beaten us 2-1 and we played really well and Spurs got really lucky and really jammy, I would be complaining about VAR. I would be complaining that it was a blatant handball, because it was a penalty. And maybe if we'd got the penalty and we'd scored the penalty and we'd gone 1-0 up, it would have been a complete different game. But you're not wrong. I can't complain too much about VR because we weren't good enough anyway as well. I'm just going to scroll through the chat as well. Alanga's looking good for Forest. Forest about to sign for Fana, 30 million. He's an excellent defensive midfielder. He's better than Amrabat. Check him out. He played with Tchouameni at Monaco. Not familiar with him, but I think Forest are doing some underrated business. I think Alanga to Forest is a really good signing for Forest. I really do think Alanga's going to be a really good signing for Forest as well. I do want to get into a few more stories as well. Apparently, Mason announcement is tomorrow. Martial could be leaving. There are reports that they're going to make Saudi are going to give us a hefty fee for Martial. I have a feeling they won't, but it would be nice. But I want to dive into a few things that Ten Hag said. I think Ten Hag made some interesting comments about Mason Mount and some United players that have obviously caused a little bit of a stir. And I think we want to dive into those comments as well. But I quickly wanted to get into some things as well. The Glazer family do not care about backlash. They're happy to stay at United if they feel that they're going to profit more from United. Was a story coming out. Isn't that a perfect time for a story like that to come out? But Ten Hag made a few interesting comments. And I kind of wanted to talk about it. Ten Hag said that the midfield wasn't a problem and that he was happy with the midfield, and a lot of people are angry with that. I think if you're judging the game off the first 30 minutes, then the midfield wasn't a problem and he can be happy with the midfield. But I think over the entirety of the 90 minutes, the midfield got completely outrun. So, I think Ten Hag is just trying to protect Mount. I think Ten Hag is trying to be like, well, okay, Mason Mount's getting a lot of unfair criticism because he is. Mason Mount has kind of become the target. He's become the new scapegoat. And I think the criticism on Mason Mount is unfair. And I think I just see it as Ten Hag's way of, you know what, I'm just going to go out there. I'm just going to try and do my thing, protect Mason Mount, la-di-la-di-la-di-la-di-la. That's what I think it is. I think Ten Hag was happy with the midfield for 30 minutes, but I don't think he was happy with the midfield over 90 minutes. Not at all, because we got outrun. And, Ten Hag will say things, but I'll tell you this now, people might think Ten Hag's stupid, but he's not stupid as well. Scrolling through the chat as well, need Rangnick back as director of football and Qatar to take over with Van der Sar. Tell you what, we need Qatar. Smash the like button if you agree as well. Just go and get Amrabat because you have said you wanted him in agreed personal terms. The mad thing is we agreed personal terms with Amrabat 2 months ago. Amrabat's been waiting for United 2 months. Amrabat must be thinking, bloody hell, how shit Yassim doing it? He's been waiting like 7 months. I've had to wait 2 months and I'm going crazy. Don't know why Amrabat's just got a weird accent there. But you know what I mean. When will we complete the Amrabat signing? That is the question I wish I knew the answer to, Kenny. I wish I knew the answer. Some people are saying soon, but just don't trust United. Don't trust United one bit as well. Maguire got relegated twice in 1 season, says David. Alice, what do you mean I'm on a mad one? I guess you can win things with kids as well. I'm just scrolling through the chat here. I don't blame Maguire or any of the others for staying. I blame the execs who gave them the deals and the execs who are unwilling to pay them off, says Ed. Fair enough. I get why they're not paying them off, but yeah, to give Maguire 200 grand a week is crazy from the executives. Like, I don't blame them for not paying Maguire off. Why are we paying Maguire off? We're gonna have to pay everyone else off. But yeah, I get your point there. I get your point. Leach played DM for Ajax and did well, yeah, but he's not played there for 3 seasons. That's why Ten Hag doesn't want to play him there. And Alice, once Højlund with his bat, we will score those goals, says Kenny Martin. I generally believe that the Højlund sign is going to make a much more difference than people think. Like, he's not Harry Kane, he's not Erling Haaland, he's not prime Benzema, he's not prime Thierry Henry, but just having his presence there and allowing Rashford to go back on the left wing and actually having someone that will probably finish. Obviously a miscue because finishing is raw at that age, but having someone that is, someone that can actually finish and a focal point will improve us so much. Leon Bailey is being investigated by West Midland police after a supporter accused him of assault. So apparently Bailey's have assaulted some supporter of Everton, apparently. Who knows? I'll tell you what, never a nice day in football, never a nice day. Every day we just get a report out. So lovely, isn't it? As well. Man United players don't have to fight them at the moment, says Daniel, and I think you're spot on. Man United players are massively lacking that fight. They don't seem to be fighting as well. Tottenham tweet their formation at the start of the second half and Eric Ten Hag had no answer. You know what, you're right. Do you know what the problem is? And this is a really good point. Tottenham did tweak their formation at the start of the half. We saw, we were better than Tottenham in the first half for the majority of it. And saw that he adapted the formation. He made a few changes and we saw, that they came out in the second half and absolutely obliterated us. They were all over us. It's like, they absolutely knew what to expect. And it's like Ten Hag wasn't expecting them to do that. And they caught us out. And then Ten Hag's answer to that was keeping Rashford. Yeah, look, you know what? We'll keep Rashford centrally and play Sancho on the left, even though for me it wasn't working. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, yeah, it was mad. But I don't think you're wrong as well. United are too easy to play against, especially with not scoring goals. If we score goals, it's a different game. But the problem is, if we're not scoring the goals, when we win games, it's the defence. Since the Carabao Cup final, whatever, and call me out if you don't agree with me, don't agree with me, but I think I'm speaking facts here. Since the Carabao Cup final, our defence has won us almost every game. If you disagree with me, let me know. Since the Carabao Cup final, I feel like our defence has won us almost every single game that we've played. Okay? So if our attack don't show up, it's fine, the defence are there. But if the defence have an off game and the attack don't show up, we lose. And every game we lose is because, okay, the defence was a bit iffy. But the defence, 90% of the time, show up, they do their job. And the attack don't do their job. And I feel like the defence has won us every single game since the Carabao Cup final, and the attack lets us down. And because every now and then the defence will have an off game, but if the defence have an off game and the attack haven't scored, the defence aren't allowed to have an off game. And I think that doesn't help as well. Maybe Eric Ten Hag should keep Mount, drop Anthony, Pellistri, Miles better. Yeah, I think I'd like to see Pellistri get a bit more of a chance as well, because I love how he can dribble out so wide. He's one of those traditional dribblers as well. On 250 likes, so please do smash the like button, people, and of course subscribe down below as well. But the press shot is on Højlund already, and he's not played a game yet. And you make a point, because of how poor we've been, there's going to be absolute pressure on Højlund, which I don't like as well. It's the attack and the midfield, yeah. Facts, it's the defence, like under Ollie, yeah. And since Casemiro got that red card, everything fell apart at United. Since the Carabao Cup final, it's like we've won the trophy, and they think, oh, complete it, mate. Oh, complete it, mate. Yeah, they just look like a new side, all complete it, mate side. And yeah, it's not the best. It's not the most exciting vibes around United at the moment. But listen, people, I have been live for nearly an hour. 11 days to the UCL draw, which is exciting. 251 likes. Big up everybody. And Eric Ten Hag seemed a bit down about Donny wanting to leave. Yeah, probably was, but he doesn't want Donny, he wants Amrabat. Anyway, people, please do smash that like button, subscribe down below if you're new here. I'm going to end the live stream because it's getting pretty late, but it was just a fun late night live stream rounding up the news, and we'll be back in the morning. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and bye.